So how are premiums for cyber liability insurance established? When you go to buy an insurance policy for cyber liability insurance, your broker, your agent, is going to determine the risk for the insurance company. What kind of business are you in? Are you in a high-risk business? How many employees do you have? Is it a large-scale business? What are your revenues? If you're a $500,000 company, you may have less risk than a $5 million company. So your scale and size of the company are going to be a factor. Also, how does your company engage with activity that is cyber related? Now, believe it or not, this day and age, every company has cyber risk, even if you think you're a low-tech company. We'll talk more about that. Before we go any further, make sure you put comments or questions below so we know what feedback you have about this video or other questions you have about the subject. The other questions that your agent or broker will ask you is, what have you done so far for cyber risk mitigation? Do you have passwords on all your machines? Do you have two-factor authentication set up? Are you doing the regular patches and updates for all your computers and all your software? Even if you're updating your computers, you probably have 10 or 15 or 20 different software platforms you use every single day. Your CRM, your client relations management system, your accounting system, maybe you use QuickBooks, your help desk system, maybe use HubSpot. You may have a system that does your payroll. You may have a system that does manufacturing. Maybe you have a CNC machine control system. Doesn't matter what business you're in, you have dozens of technology platforms that are used every day, and they interact, they talk to each other. You want to make sure that you're doing your updates every day. In fact, when you get your policy, it may state in your policy that you're required to do these updates on a regular basis. So that's going to go into your rating and your premium. Another factor that goes in is your training. How often do you have meetings about cyber protection? If you're looking to get cyber liability insurance, you might want to start doing some of these things for a few months before you even apply for it, so you can say truthfully on your application, we do these things. We do updates, we do training, we do prevention, and go ahead and have the regular meetings, because here's the thing. The biggest factor in protecting against cyber liability insurance risks or harms or events is employee activity. The employees' actions, how they handle different events, will be the make or break for you to have a loss. An employee gets an email with an attached file. Do they know not to open it? An executive gets a message through LinkedIn that looks like it's from a bank. Do they know to verify? A customer service person who answers the phone, somebody asks them for a login for a customer. Do they know not to give it? Even if you would think they know, reminding of these things on a regular basis, once a week, couple times a month, and documenting these conversations can help if you do have a loss to make sure you get coverage. Because the terms and conditions of your policy might say, if you didn't do these things, we're going to reject your claim. More importantly, even if your claim's approved, you're still going to have losses, or at the very least, you're going to have a serious inconvenience. It's not going to be a fun day if you have a cyber loss. So doing these things will keep it from happening in the first place, even if you do get covered by your insurer. What else does the insurance company look at for creating the premium amount? One of the factors might be, do you have work from home employees? Because that's a more risky vector. It may be more difficult for a hacker to get into the server through computers inside your office. I mean, all these computers behind me are all in our office location. They're less likely to be hacked because they have to get through the office firewall. What about the laptop that your employee's using on their kitchen table at home? That laptop may be less secure because the router at that residence might not have the same firewall protection you do at your office. So your insurer might ask you, how many work from home people do you have? Do they use a VPN? Do they use proper firewalls? How often is it updated? Do you know when they're logged in? You may want to keep a log of when outside employees are attached to your system and put up prevention measures. The last thing that cyber liability companies are going to look at, insurance companies, are, do you have any prior claims? And that's another important reason to prevent claims from happening, because even if they're paid, that might make it more difficult, more expensive for you to get coverage in the future, because it proves that, yeah, you might have been unlucky, but you also had an event that wasn't prevented internally. So making sure that you don't have as many claims as possible. Anytime you get an insurance policy, even ones you already have for standard legacy type coverage, you have to provide loss runs showing all prior losses so the insurance company knows, are you a risk or not. So don't have any losses that you can avoid will help you get future coverage and lower prices on policies in the future.